Alright, so we are live again. Welcome to my show. This is Usapang Musiko Season 2. And for this episode, we will talk about success. How do you measure success as a musician? No? Because it's something that we need to talk about. Okay? With all the stereotyping that's happening about how arts is really pushed to the side, especially during this time. But we're all living for and with and through arts, diba? So let's talk about that. Um, it's the same. I think success can't be really measured by any accolades or special awards someone receives. No, sometimes it's not based on that. It's not based on being the most popular musician or the most number of records sold. Some even don't have records, right? So it's not something we can base success on. So a lot of people, let's talk about those who are happy with what they're doing, no? Because being a musician is something that you practice without any end. Again, we always talk about musicians are never retiring. They never retire. They always go and do what they love, and that's making music. And that's something not a lot of people can do. A lot of sports stars. We just finished with the NBA finals, no? A lot of sports stars have their careers end by the age of 40. And a lot of musicians actually die performing, no? A lot of musicians end their career when their lives end. And that's something that I could say is a very noble act to do. Is to stick with something that you love and be able to do it without any limit. No? Now, a lot of people, especially those who are not in the circle or not really known to be aware of what a musician is really doing, would say that, oh, are you famous? Like those questions are asked around, or do are you known in your field? So they base success of what others think of you, and that's that's not the only measure of success. No, when you're a musician, it's not just about having uh specific people knowing you or talking to you, talking about you, no, having to sell a ton of records. Of course, everyone needs to earn a living, but you can't really measure that as the only way of being a successful musician. We have lots of successful musicians that don't have that much of a monetary, let's say, earnings. They don't earn that much, but they are great musicians. No, they are successful in their field. They have helped a lot, opened a lot of eyes for people to look into the world of music in a different like, you can be good. That's what's good about the arts, is you can be good and one can be better than you, but does not make you a lesser musician or a lesser person. No, there's no contest. Of course, competitions are made, but it's not always about winning those competitions. It's about creating connections, being better than yourself. This is the most important thing, no? So people like to think na they stereotype musicians as it's either you're the most famous rock star or you're a struggling artist. There's no in between. They think it's like that, no? That okay, you're a superstar. You go countless shows every year. You go on tours, and then there's struggling artists who can't even make a single dime. But of course, that's not the only level of being a musician. There are people who are successful and happy with what they're doing by just simply playing. No, this is what's good about being a musician, is that you don't need to be working professionally to be considered successful. Okay, you don't need to be working every day on the certain same things to be considered successful. You could be a simple musician that plays gigs and you're happy and contented with your life, and that's your level of success, and that's not really bad as long as you can provide food for your family, or you do what you love and you still survive living off doing just what you love. Some people don't have the luxury of that, and I think that is really wonderful to be able to provide your needs with what doing what you love. Not a lot of people can say that they do that. No, a lot of people stuck in a 9 to 5 job, doing corporate work that just burns themselves out. But as a musician, if you can pay the bills with what you're doing, that's like a dream come true for some people. And that could be considered records to sell. You might not have sold out shows in different arenas around the world, but you're doing what you love. And that is really good. Diba? And I think because music and art in general does not discriminate. And that's a wonderful thing also. That you don't get to discriminate yourself from doing these things, no? As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're doing this for yourself, for your family, or for the people that you love, there's nothing wrong with that. No? Because, of course, the world is cruel. The world is full of judgment. But if you know where you can be happy, if you can take what you do, make something out of it to help you survive, no? That's why it's a very sad time for musicians right now, because a lot of musicians are working in bars, in hotels, and of course, with social distancing, the social aspect is affected because music making or live music is a social experience. With social Okay, so it really hurts to see people lose their jobs, no? Have some of them have to sell their gear, sell uh all their belongings just to survive. And of course we can't do anything about it, and can only hope and pray for them that they can come back stronger after all this has happened. No? There are a lot of people who are fortunate enough that can still earn a living through doing what they love, because music is not just performing. No? Success in music does not just end in, okay, I'm the best in what I do. No. It's also about teaching. It's also about handing over the knowledge that you learn. And sometimes people base their success there. There's a lot of good teachers, music teachers, no, here in the Philippines. Very well respected around the world in all fields, not just in my field that I know, in orchestra and strings, but in other fields as well, no, in of music, not just in the classical world, but also in the popular music scene, also in the independent scene. There are a lot of people that are well rounded and well respected around the world, but are not appreciated enough in their own country. So they may be successful in their field, but they're not appreciated. So you can see that the irony of the fact that people don't really value music enough. They just see it on the surface as something that is readily available to them. But they don't see the love that the musicians put into what they are doing. Some of us don't see. They only see us as entertainment. But why are you entertained? Because you felt something. Diba? And a lot of musicians will also say that the feeling that they give off, the feeling that they can share to the audience, to the people that they are entertaining, is also a form of success. There's this quote, don't quote me on this one, that says like, imagine being a doctor, going on an emergency operation, diba? It may be life threatening or life and death situation from for a person. It's the same thing as going to a concert. You have to invoke and convey a certain emotion that would give a dying soul another chance to live. No? And that is something I could consider successful if you're a musician. Diba? To give life to another person. No? To give them inspiration to do what they want. No? Because music is very, very powerful. And as what I've said, it's a higher importance than just surviving. No? Art in general is higher than just being provided your clothing, your food, your shelter. It's higher than that. It's not the other way around. Music and the arts in general are always going to be higher. And that's why maybe people don't understand the relevance of it. Now, without these art forms, what are we? How can we be human without these? That's why they are called the humanities. How can you be human if the only thing you live for is eating, having clothes on, and having a house to live in? What else can you do? How can you translate yourself? How can you express yourself without art? And it hurts me inside na I have heard things that music isn't important right now. And that's not true. No? Music is and always be important. You may not see it in rallies, you may not see it in the operating room when someone's dying, but it's more important than you think. It's more important than you know. Especially for those listening to this podcast that are not really aware of how big of an impact music has. And it's really something because we only see the surface of it, no? Especially those who don't understand it. And that's why I'm trying to convey these things to you right now. That success in music is not just being known by a lot of people. It can be different from that. It can be just making your mom smile with the first song that you learned on the violin, or making your grandma happy because you learned the piano, or making your dad proud because you played his favorite song that you learned for almost a year. So it's going to depend on a lot of things. It's very, very subjective, as is music, right? And success, I mean, in other fields, success isn't always going to be okay. The best lawyers, for example, don't always go to the biggest law firms, right? Some of them want to serve the people, so they go to the public attorney's office. They serve for free. But they're the best of their batch. They're the best in class. But money is not always the level of success. Is not always based on money, on fame, on fortune. No, it's how many lives you touch. It's how many people you actually help. Not directly, maybe, but for listening, in listening to you sing, in listening to you play, that you open up their hearts, that they open up their emotions to you, that you break those walls for them to be able to say what they want to say and feel what they want to feel and feel what they need to feel. That's how powerful art and music is. And that's a level of success a lot of jobs or not a lot of work can give. If you look at it that way. No? So, in whatever niche you are in music, just continue doing what you love because your success will not define. I mean, the success that you're going to have is not defined by the number of plays you get. It's not about quantity. Success is not about quantity in music. It's always about quality. How many people you've touched, how many people you've given the chance to actually live again. We don't know those stories. We might not ever hear them thank us for what we're doing, but you should know that there are times like that. No? It's the same thing in weddings. I really enjoy playing in weddings, and especially when the group comes in and bride comes in, and then you're playing, and then tears fall from their eyes. It's because of the music. No, of course, it's evoking an emotion for them because usually they request their favorite songs. And it's really heartwarming as a musician to see them cry. I'm not saying I want them to cry, but those tears of joy is really something that warms my heart, especially seeing them in the happiest moments of their lives, and you're the one providing them. It's not just the background, no. It's not just the background. It's live. It's giving them life. No, it's lighting the flame of their passions or their love for their spouse. No, when they enter in to the church. So I really love that feeling that you see. They may not tell you certain things because of course they won't. But you know in your heart that you did a good job. And that's another form of success, diba? So it's a really noble job. So if you're a musician, don't be ashamed. Don't let people tell you otherwise, that what you're doing is not relevant. It will never be not relevant. You have to understand that. Music will always be there. It's a better drug than talking sometimes, no? Sometimes we can only communicate with feelings that we can't say. A song can say a lot of things for you, right? Even a tune, no? So, your success in music will not be based on things that you can count or the people who knows you, no? We all have that, no? Some, of course, I'm not saying that those people aren't successful. Of course they are in their own right. But it's not the only way to be successful, no? Having people understand where you're coming from, being able to convey those certain emotions is success. And we have to really, really see that. It's not just, again, it's not just the awards you may receive, no? Because not everyone can win, no? Not, it's like the same. Let's talk about the NBA, diba? Not a lot of people can win a championship. But a lot of those people who didn't win a championship can be in the Hall of Fame because they did their job. No, it's the same thing in music. Same thing in other fields as well. No? So success or people knowing you, he's like the best one, okay. But it's not. Is that really what you can consider success? No? So it will really depend on you. And for me, what is success for me is I'm able to help people out. I'm able to make people feel what they need to feel, how they want to feel, and also, of course, as a teacher, able to share the knowledge that I've learned to other people so that they can share this knowledge as well. Not just by teaching another person, but by playing with passion, by understanding that what they are doing is a big part of who they are. And that is what success is for me. So I'll end today with this. I hope you learned something new from this. And as a final thought for musicians, I know it's been so long and everyone misses playing live for people, but with the technology that we have, at least we can still continue to create content or create music for everyone to enjoy. And I hope you still do follow on to your passions. It may be a tough time for everyone, but we will get back on top soon. So I'll leave you guys here. Thanks for joining me tonight. Follow me again on my socials. Links are down on the description below. So check out my other podcasts, episodes, and of course, look forward to more content coming soon. And this is Ryan Monakil for Usapang Musiko Season 2. I'll see you on the next video.